I don't have a neuroscience degree, I just have an intense interest. And I also know that it says never in this title, but just like everybody else, I'm trying. And so I can't guarantee that I'll never do these things again, but I'm just trying to eliminate them as much as possible. The first thing is multitasking. Okay, multitasking is actually not productive. It's not a productive strategy for the brain. I do struggle to focus deeply sometimes, but when you're at your optimal level of focus, you ideally want to enter like that flow state. And that flow state is only possible if you're able to deeply focus on one thing. If you're very easily distracted, then you're very easily weak. To really learn anything deeply, it requires a lot of patience, a lot of focus, and you need to be able to block out, say no to as much as possible. Because attention is the currency of life, it's the most important thing you have. That is why you need to guard it with everything that you have. The more you're able to do that, the more creative you'll be able to be, because you don't notice things, you don't connect things just at a surface level. You go deeply into it and you notice things that other people wouldn't. Practical steps would be being alone, being able to be alone, work in solitude, to be able to work in silence, no music, no distractions, no one else, just you and your work alone. When you eventually hit boredom, when you eventually hit challenges, train yourself to keep going. There's a neuroscientist called Dr. Tara Swart, and she has said that the brain doesn't function well when constantly switching. Focus and structured effort beat trying to do everything at once. The second thing is not listening to my emotions and not listening to my body. Emotions that are repressed never die. Emotions that are repressed never die. And what happens is they get buried. They get buried in the subconscious, they get pushed back, and then they emerge later in destructive and ways that you can't control. So when you have emotions like envy, anger, don't dismiss them, don't suppress them, just become conscious of them, become aware of them, and then channel them into something that's going to benefit you, that's going to be productive. Let's say you feel envious of someone. Recognize it, admit it to yourself, and use that as fuel to work harder on yourself. Your intuition is the body and the brain's natural intelligence. The natural intelligence of its sense of self. And what I've learned is that when you were a child, it was very strong. You knew what you disliked, you knew what you liked, you knew when you had an off feeling about something, when you had a gut feeling, when your intuition was strong, you knew it as a child. But then as you get older, people tell you how to feel, what to do, and you stop listening to your intuition because you're not used to listening to yourself anymore. So that disappears as you get older. It's the attempt to escape from pain that creates more pain. Number 3 is I will never mess up my natural sleep rhythm again. So I stopped waking up with an alarm a few months ago. I used to be very strict about this is how many hours of sleep I should get every single night. But now I realize how important it is to stick to my natural rhythm. If I need to sleep for 11 hours, then that's what my body needs. Obviously, sometimes this is not possible. Sometimes I have to wake up at a certain time, actually most of the time. And also sometimes like I need to be somewhere at a certain time. I can only get 6 hours of sleep. Okay, sometimes this is actually not possible. So I try to go to sleep at the same time every day, but I let myself wake up whenever I need to wake up, whenever my body naturally wakes up. And I tried to do that whole waking up at 5 a.m., but it didn't work for me. I didn't feel productive in the morning at all. I didn't feel creative at all. So ever since doing this, I've had so much more energy. I felt like 500 times more productive. So yeah, it is not good to sacrifice sleep. I used to not believe this, but I know how important it is now. If you're well rested and energized, you will make better decisions in the long run, and you will also have a clearer mind. You can't have optimal performance of anything in your life if you're deprived of your basic health needs. So sleep restores the brain, repairs the body, and shapes your long-term health. If you really want to be convinced and learn about it, I would recommend to listen to Matthew Walker. He wrote the book Why We Sleep. He really emphasizes that sleep is not a luxury or an optional lifestyle choice. It's a non-negotiable biological necessity. But if you would normally sleep over your alarm clock, then you're probably not getting enough sleep. But yeah, obviously the first thing, most important thing in life is your health. It's a non-negotiable to take care of that first and foremost. Okay, the fourth thing is watch the news. I do scroll sometimes. I do check certain news apps sometimes. I try not to watch the news, especially if it's something that I'm not very interested in. And I used to get very heavily criticized for this. The problem is that because the majority of the news that you're consuming is negative, you're just consuming negative content all the time. The next one is pretty much the same concept, but it's consuming negative content and content that isn't beneficial to me, that I don't enjoy or am not learning from. You become what you consume, and the brain becomes what you feed it. So I'm constantly trying to minimize noise as much as possible, digitally, socially, emotionally. Number 6 is never abandon myself to meet others' expectations. I think a lot of people confuse people pleasing with having compassion and caring about other people, but it is actually more harmful if you are doing it at the expense of yourself and your own valuable time. Chronic self-suppression leads to illness, resentment, and burnout. If you don't put yourself first, you shouldn't really be prioritizing other people, because it literally has effects on your mental and physical health. Number 7 is negative self-talk. Negative self-talk, negative thoughts, do not waste your energy on that. And then this one's kind of obvious, but being around negative people. At all costs, avoid negative people. Avoid people that gossip, avoid drama. You become the people that you surround yourself with. What's that quote? You are the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So be selective, and that doesn't mean being rude or not being humble, but just be mindful and do not give your energy to negative people.